Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best. Before today's segment, we want to give you a chance to win a real cool prize. All you have to do is follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Join now for your chance to win an autographed Doug Gilmour Flame jersey, the real leader of the '89 Flames Cup-winning team, the club's best-looking jersey. Join us on Twitter and Facebook to win. It's that easy.
Let's talk a little football, GP, because no big surprise. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Joffrey Reynolds been released by the Calgary Stampeders as of Monday. I would think Joffrey had a great career, but end of the line. I can't see anyone picking him up.
I don't think so either. Makes a lot of money. I think his skills have diminished. But I don't think any team would see a value in him. Is he a great blocking back? Pretty good blocker, but why would you sign him? You can get a cheaper American player to do his job. It's interesting, you know, people saying they want Jerome McGinley to stay with the Flames because that's what teams should do, is keep the stars around and honor them for being with a team. You don't see that much in the CFL because look right now, Henry Burris, who is the face of this team for the last 5 years, Joffrey Reynolds, similar time here, they're gone. Just like that. There's no honor in sticking around a lot longer.
I would imagine the next logical move, because of free agency, would be Burke Dales, and I still think he's going to end up in Winnipeg.
I would think, yeah, Burke Dales, you can't argue that. But if you talk about the core players, you figure Nick Lewis and Kenyon Rambo remain. I think Rambo's going to be here. I believe John Hufnagel loves this guy. We'll see how that knee responds in the offseason. What about Nick Lewis, though? Maybe he's the next one to go from that core that's been around for the last 5 years. First of all, I don't disagree with letting Reynolds go. Despite the good feeling about the guy, everybody likes him. It's the way Hufnagel is doing things with the changeover, smart move.
Nick Lewis, be interesting. You know, we've talked about this a little bit earlier. I mean, he makes no bones about it. He wants more money, and it'll be interesting to see if he doesn't get it, what his next plan of action will be.
Well, he wants more money. Is it warranted? I mean, he's a good player, but I don't know if. Yeah, diminishing skills.
Yeah.
The core is diminishing skills.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to talk about Burris, Reynolds, Rambo, and Lewis. So I don't know if that's valid.
Yeah. NFL, pretty interesting games over the past weekend, Grant. And I tell you what, there's a receiver and a place kicker in Baltimore that couldn't get laid there with $100 bills glued to their heads. Man, wow.
You know, I look back at the conference championships, not for excellent play. There was some excellent play, but for mistakes. Yeah. Tom Brady wasn't very good.
Oh, no. He was outplayed.
He admits that.
Yeah.
He said he sucked, and he was honest with that. And the Ravens were maybe the better team, but they blew it. The receiver blew it, and the kicker blew it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of think of that. And then in the other game with San Francisco, you know, playing the Giants, I think of a guy on the 49ers. Is it Williams who dropped the ball?
Yes.
Kyron Williams?
Yeah, right. Williams.
Twice.
Yep.
Twice.
But that last one, oh my God.
I think of mistakes from those games. So,
and to live with that.
Now, I kind of wish it was Baltimore and San Fran.
Oh, so do I.
I kind of wanted the Harbaugh Bowl.
First of all, New England's been there. This is their 7th time they've been to the Super Bowl. So it's getting boring.
Belichick and Brady, 5 years together, coaching quarterback. That's impressive in sports.
Hall of Fame duo. Mind you, look at what New York is. You have the Giants. They had a season of turmoil halfway through.
They won 5 or 6 in a row.
Yes, and then Tom Coughlin was going to be gone. There was talk about him being fired even before the year was out. There's always talk about Eli Manning not quite being an elite quarterback. But gee whiz, I mean, this is a move that will, if they win this, they're Hall of Fame candidates. And he's the Manning with the most Super Bowl rings.
Exactly, yeah. You know, it's interesting, we all look at stats. When you cover sports, you look at stats, and you look at the 49ers. Did they convert a 3rd down? I mean, they didn't, or they maybe one, I don't know. They didn't do very many. If you look at a lot of the stats, they should have got blown up. I mean, the Giants had better stats, but there they are in overtime.
Yeah.
So it shows that it doesn't really matter what happens on stats, and who makes the plays at what time in the game. And those mistakes by the Niners late in the game and in overtime, and the Giants capitalized. The Ravens just couldn't capitalize at the right time.
Yeah.
Now, that wasn't to win the game. The field goal would have just forced it into overtime.
Yeah, at least you had it overtime. But going back to Alex Smith, you got to take the ball and you have to make attempts downfield to get a chance to score in overtime.
They didn't throw many passes,
no,
did they?
No,
in that game.
And then they got away from Gore, who was eating them up too. So really questionable calling as far as I was concerned with 49ers.
Now, the 49ers probably aren't thinking this today, but what a great season, because they had a losing season the season before. Where did they go, 13-3? Exactly.
Yep.
And now they've made it to the conference championship, and Alex Smith is now on the radar for people to say it.
Nice story, good feel-good story.
Good quarterback. I want to see the Harbaughs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, same here. One final football note, Joe Paterno, Penn State, Coach John Huffnagel.
He died on the weekend.
Died on the weekend at 85 years old. What's his legacy, Grant? You know, the scandal with Sandusky and the young kids and all that has to taint it. You know, he had to have sleepless nights just thinking about that. He was fired because of it. What's the overall impression that people have now?
That's a great question. I mean, 61 years with the university. He was a god at the university financially, and one of the winningest coaches of all time in NCAA football. A huge legacy in college football, but it's tainted by this.
Yes.
So to me, it's not an either or. I think it's both. But the legacy of football will be tainted because of that.
Do you think in time maybe they'll just reflect on that, or do you think this is just?
I don't think time. I think it's always to be tainted. I think it'll always be, there'll be a black mark along that great football record, a great man. And I guess, you know, like John Huffnagel was a quarterback for Penn State in the early 70s and said, this guy has principles that I wanted to live by and coach by. However, some of those principles that we now know, that he neglected to report certain things that are just unbelievable. But then a guy his age, Mike, and growing up in that era, you kind of turned away. You didn't know how to communicate. Where nowadays you see what's going on in that shower, you report, you do something about it. But it's more open. You're allowed to do that. Not giving him any excuses. So I guess the answer is great sports legacy, but will forever be tainted. And I'm just wondering how much he died of cancer, but I'm sure of a broken heart too, and just was crushed by what transpired.
Tired of going to redneck barbecues? Well, you better call Rocky Mountain Barbecue. Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best. Great tasting food, clean and efficient service. Check us out online or call Rocky Mountain Barbecue.